there must have been about 43 kings. Some of them ruled for like maybe 29, 30 years, with the shortest being maybe a couple of months. Right? Now, I'll come back to the reason why I use that as my opening scripture. Right? I'll bring it back to you guys. So, are you guys all okay? You're happy to be here? Yeah. Have a good week? Great. So, most of my sermons, I like to do something personal. Right? I like to interweave something that I can look back on, something that I know, or something that happened. And I'm going to use one story soon about something that happened. I think I've said it before, but I'll use it again. Right? So I don't know if you guys think about your lives. I don't know if you'll think about the lives that you'll live, how you're living it. If you'll think about the things you say, you think about the things you do. Right? If you're anything, if we have anything in common, then most times I realize really aware of when I did something wrong after I've done it. And the first thing that goes through my mind is, oh, I messed up. God, please forgive me. And I don't know whether you guys do that, or whether you guys have become so used to stuff that you are doing that there's no reason to say sorry. Right? Oh, let me check it out. It's getting in my way. So I've lived a pretty colorful life. I've done a lot of things from the time I was young, and I could have called myself a Christian for all my life, but it's been a very short time that I've actually lived as a Christian. Right? I come from a church where I attended church Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, Friday night. And I was still a terrible Christian. But church alone does not change you. But God can change you. Right? We need to remember these things. For some of us, and a lot of people, a lot of Christians, are under the impression that going to church will save you. So they make it a norm that, you know what, regardless of what I do, I need to be in church. When I was younger, I had a friend. He was actually a friend of my brother. They were in the same class together. And he used to tell me that, you know what, no matter where he goes on a Saturday night, whichever club he's going to, whatever party he attends, however he's partying, he said part of his penance is that he forces himself to get up on a Sunday morning. Even if he's barbed, even if he's still half drunk, that he gets himself to church. He said, and he sits in church and he says, he takes it as a punishment for him to listen to the music and everything, and even his head is throbbing, that he needs to give this up. Right? I don't know what we use as a penance. I don't know what we use as something to tell us, you know what, I'm doing something wrong. But I can tell you, not all of us seated here say sorry to God for the things that we do. Right? And because of the things that I've done when I was younger, situations I've been in when I was younger, I have a lot of stories. And sometimes I can't even tell the church story about my personal life. Because some people sitting in the church will take it as permission to do what I did. Because you know what? If God forgives me, he'll forgive them. And that's not the way we should take all the story. It's stories from the Bible. David committed adultery. It does not mean we need to commit adultery. And then come back and say, God, you know what? Hey, David said sorry, and Moses saying sorry. Please forgive me. The stories there are for us to avoid the situations completely. Not do it because someone else did it for us. So the story I want to tell you is, when I was working at Mr. Price, the guy who got us a job there was our youth leader of church. And while we were working and stuff, we realized, cutting the story short, right? So while we're working with you, we realized that, this guy's always missing from the games that we should play soccer that normally to play with us. After he wasn't playing soccer game with us. Eventually we realized that he was seeing a girl at work on site. Yet he's a married man. Right? And I'm using a real story because in the world that we live in, even in the Christian home, in the Christian church, there are lots of things that are happening. And we don't like to tell other people and discuss it. But some of the things is frankly embarrassing. And also sometimes we are ashamed of the things that we do. Right? So my friend was basically committing adultery at work. So he used to lock himself into he had key for a certain ladies' room somewhere, and he used to lock himself in there with this girl that he had something to do with. And we knew about it. We all attended the same church. One of the guys working with us was the pastor's son. He also knew about it. Everyone that was there from church, it must have been like maybe about 7 of us, guys from church, we all played soccer together. We all knew about it. Not one of us spoke to the brother about it. You know why? Because we were selfish. It had nothing to do with pride and arrogance. We were selfish. Because for the time that he was there with the girl, he allowed us to do whatever we want. That's how selfish we were. And eventually the story got to his wife, it got to the church. And do you know when the pastor asked him about it, you know what his words were? If my friend saw me doing something wrong, why could they not tell me about it? If I could not see the fault for myself, I was too deep in it, how could my friends who saw me doing this every day let me stay in the situation? I never corrected it. That's the story I want you all to remember. Because I was one of the friends he spoke about. And I ask myself daily, and some of our friends, they know, right? Sometimes I get very passionate and emotional when I'm trying to correct someone and they don't listen to what I say. Some of you guys probably don't correct people for the same reason. People don't want to listen. They get angry. And someone might even pick on something that you did previously. Like, why are you judging me for something? Right? But I'm very passionate about things that I do. When I see children doing the wrong thing, I correct them. If I get a chance to see an adult doing the wrong thing, I correct them. I don't like correcting people at church, but people at church think they know everything, especially the adults. Right, truthfully. But I can guarantee you, ask any child in church if I have not corrected them for something. And every child will be able to say, no, he corrected me or he scolded me. See, sometimes you guys live with your children. You'll see them every day. I did not have that luxury. I used to get to see my kids when I got to see them. And yet, I feel I did more talking about God to my kids who hardly saw than some of you who live with the kids. And you might say, no, I'm talking nonsense. But I'll tell you something. Every time that you or you warn your child for bad behavior, you're not bringing them any closer to God. And you might be an adult now. And if your parent did not correct you and also rewarded you with for bad behavior, then you will also be having issues now with how you serve God. So what did you learn from the story that I said about the incident, about the guy? Probably nothing, because it was not personal to you. I probably learned a lot, and I still learn from it because I was certainly involved in the story. Right? But it's a true story. Sometimes we live selfish lives. It's all about you, or it's all about me. It's all about our jobs, our homes, our cars, our children, our egos, pretty much like Lucifer, right? Our egos, our pride, our arrogance and things, our wants, our lives, etc., etc. It's a long list. It goes on and on. Everyone's got their own issues to work with. If my friends saw me doing the wrong thing, then why didn't they tell me? These words haunt me regularly, especially when I see people from the church or I bump into my friend Amy. The best part about the entire thing, by God's grace, him and his wife stay together. through it. And he pulled his life around. But me as a friend, how do I feel that I failed? How do you feel when you fail your friends? And how do you fail your friends? It's for you to think about. Right? Especially when I see something wrong, when I hear something wrong, when I don't address something, I should have addressed. But how many of us are guilty of that as well? Elder Anoop might join me for a certain thing. And yet he knows maybe I've got a weakness or I've got a problem with something. But he does not know maybe how to approach me or tell me about it. So he might leave it. Right? But in my mind, the elder he's not telling me or correcting me. So it is fine to do it. I can carry on doing the wrong. That's what some of us think. Right? That's what some of us carry on. We are all God's children since the earth was created. Who's not a child of God? Anyone who's not a child of God, that's it. We like to think we are children of God, right? I pray that we are. Israel was taken out of bondage. How much of problems did they have on the way to the promised land? A whole lot of problems. Did the problem end when they got to the promised land? Right? And the entire journey, I told you, how many kings and a queen? About 43. Right? All those kings, how does the new king come up? It's the son of the previous king most of the time. But from all those kings, from the 43 of them, there was only about maybe 5 or 6 that walked or tried to walk a path with God. Most of them were evil. And in the same way, sometimes we think we can save our children by the life that we live. Or our parents can save us by the life that they live. But let me tell you something. Much like how the king's sons, most of them were not like the fathers who followed God. We too are drifting further away from God. But it's not too late to change. Right? Much like how God took them out of bondage. God saved Israel regularly. Much like how God saved us regularly. It's not a comparison. It's not like a picture. Most of what Israel went through, we go through now. We have good days, we have bad days. And our bad days sometimes outnumber our good days. And yet we still need to hold on to God. But isn't that sometimes the hardest thing to do? When bills need to be met, when work things need to be finished on time, when we are busy and our children misbehave and we don't even have time maybe to scold them and correct them. We are no different from Israel. And sometimes when we read the Bible, we like to look back and say, oh, but Israel was such a stiff-necked people. What about us? What about me? What about me? Especially the person who does not take correction. What about that person? And yet someone who corrects us, maybe someone who changed their life and corrects us. But we will remind them of something they did 20 years ago and tell you what makes you perfect. And we need to be more open to the Spirit of God. Not to our friends, not to people around us, but to the Spirit of God and to God Himself. God gave His people many kings to rule over them. But most of those kings were evil and selfish and idolatrous. They created their own gods. They worship graven images. But in the same way, God gives us the power to be sons and daughters of the Most High God. Basically, God has made us kings in our homes and queens in our homes. How are we taking care of what God has given us? Much like how the kings were given realms to run, kingdoms to run, and they did evil. So the kingdoms did evil. Are we living the lives as kings and queens in our homes? So that our children will inherit a proper kingdom from us. Even though we say, as God said, we can't save our children. But we can feed them with what they need to make sure that they're not lost. Hezekiah became a king at 25, and he was a good king. A good king. You know how good he was? Even though he was the king of Judah, he was so good that the Bible says there was no other king like him before him, and there was no other king like him after him. Imagine the Bible writes that about you. How good a person can you be? And the thing that I read before about when he went and he burnt the bones of the wicked people and he destroyed all the altars and stuff, because we see wickedness around us now. We see people worshiping at wicked altars and other things. I can guarantee you one thing. We don't correct people about anything. The world that we live in, correcting someone now is a good way to die. It's a good way to be hunted down, to be picked on. But it also shows us one thing. Who are we afraid of? Are we more afraid of God and standing for the truth? Or more afraid of the world? But even the Bible says, do not be afraid of the world, or powers of darkness, evil spirits, or anything else that's wicked. Because they can kill the body, but they can't kill the spirit. And the spirit is what we are here for. And if we do it right, God will give us the courage to do whatever we need to do and stand up for whatever we need to stand up. Now Hezekiah became king at 35, and he was a good king. His son Manasseh became king at 12, and he was an evil king. Manasseh's son Amon became king at 22, and he was evil. Amon's son Josiah became king at 8, and he was a good king. Josiah's son Jehoahaz became king at 23. He was evil. What am I showing you here? Fathers and sons. It's possible for a father to be good and holy. It's possible for a son to be wicked. People can change. Sometimes in own families we have these battles. It's facts. It's not things made up. It's not that. There are no fairy tales in this here. You'll find a lot of other books from other religions and stuff. There's made up stories in it. The Bible is factual. If the Bible tells us we're going to die, we're going to die. If it tells us God is going to punish us, God is going to punish us. We are called to live a life. Give me the Bible. Marlon was looking for a Bible. The Bible is not just for him to change his family. Are we going to take a page out of that day and do the same for our families? Those children that died in the taxi crash, life ended like that. Here and then gone. Did any of you see the video?
Yeah.
The oncoming video when the taxi is coming and the truck is there on the road. I think the truck was recording the thing. And then they both veered off in the same direction, off the road at the same time, and the truck hit the taxi on the side. And whoever was driving tried to save himself, mind you. Whether it was what they say a pupil was driving, or the driver himself was driving. Like in most accidents now, the driver falls away, but he puts other people in danger. And it was 12 or 13 or maybe 14 children that lost their life.
42.
Guys, we leave home daily. Our lives can be gone in the blink of an eye like that. Our children go to school daily. You can be the best driver in the world. There is some person on the road not in the right frame of mind, and they can take you out completely. People at home, your wife will never see you. But when things like that happen, most times who do we blame? We blame God. We blame God. You know when you blame God mostly? When it happens to your own family. Because then nothing a pastor can say, or nothing the most educated or eloquent man of God can say that will make you feel better that you lost your child. You don't understand it. If God is a God of love, why did he take my child away? He knows that's the only child I may have had. Why did he take the child away? Yeah? Even if you got 6 children and God takes one away, your heart is still broken. It's not like, okay, you know what, now I'll give extra love to my 5 other children. It does not work that. In the same way, all the children will be taken in the blink of an eye. The fact is, we like to think that they can open their eyes one day and enter into heaven. But we don't know. Because there's a lot of children nowadays that once they pass the age of enlightenment and they reach a certain maturity, they are liable for their own lives. So are we doing everything that we can to make sure our children are safe? And if something has to happen, that they will be safe in the arms of Jesus. How are we doing that? In most cases, it's hard. How can you be difficult sometimes with a child that you raised from the time they were a baby? You saw them from the day they were born. And that person is like a piece of yourself, a piece of your own heart. Not the easiest thing. But here's the catch. God who loves you even more than you love your child. Does God correct you when you do the wrong thing? Does God give you a break if he knows that he has to correct you for a reason? God doesn't give you a break. No, God doesn't give you a break. God will correct you when he has to correct you. God is a God of second chances. Don't get me wrong. But you keep doing the things that you were doing last year and 10 years ago and 20 years ago. Let me tell you something. God is going to step out of the picture after a while and tell you, I protected you all this time. You want to carry on doing the thing? Go ahead. Do it. And then when the problems happen, then you want to question God. God can't protect us all the time from evil that we are. Because at some time, there is a reckoning. At some time, we've got to pay. The word we call it, you play the piper. You've got to dance to the tune that you created all this time. There's a story that I said, and the thing about the kings in the Bible, there are people around us all the time. People that we call our friends. People that we love and respect and look up to, hopefully. Right? But in all the stories, and now in reality, how many of our friends correct us? If you're honest with yourself, you'll probably say maybe one or maybe none. We don't correct friends anymore. Yet, one day God's going to say, you saw your friend going down the path, and you did nothing, you said nothing. You know, in the world, if a family member or a friend is going through something really hectic, or they got a problem, you tell them, hey, go see a counselor, go see a psychiatrist, or a psychologist, go see someone. Or push up the shove, we have something called, what's the word? It'll come to me, all right? What is some? We kind of do let's not I can get the word. I'm not really good at words, right? We kind of get them somewhere with all the friends and the family and stuff. Intervention. I've got somewhere in the notes here. We have an intervention. But how is it when our friends in front of us are doing the wrong things? We don't intervene for them. Is it possible that sometimes you can't see the wrong that you're doing? Yes, it's possible. You might say, hey, that's the most stupid thing I've heard. Let me tell you something. If you've been doing something for long enough, you become immune to the truth.
Yeah.
You cannot see it anymore. You need someone to tell you, you are messing up. You need help. Correct yourself. And the people that we call our friends and the people that see us doing this, all quiet. Because we are afraid that if we tell our friend about something they're doing wrong, he might spill the beans on what we are. Hence the reason why we should be living our holy life. There should be nothing that should be turned against us. We are not put on this earth for nothing. We are meant to have friends. We are meant to have family. Guys, we're not here to put our family down, put our friends down. But we are here to correct them. We are here to give them a second chance. We are here to remind them. Because they might see the small mistake that you've made, but they can't see what they are doing because they've got a whole tree or a whole log in their own eye. So you've got to help them to pull that out as well. And maybe in you helping them to pull their one out, they can help you pull out the splinter from your own eye. And you can be strength for each other. I worry about a lot of things. I say this, I worry about my family members, worry about my friends, worry about people at church. I worry about my friends who are hooked on drugs. You know, the devil is such a cruel person or being, supernatural being, that he can make you feel that the thing you are doing is the best thing in the world. But he knows the only thing you want out of it is your death.
Yeah.
And not just your physical death, you want your spiritual death. You know, I was lucky, right? I won't say lucky, I was blessed. There was a time when I left the church and I hadn't attended church for 10 years. And in those 10 years, I hardly prayed. And in those 10 years, at any time, God could have said, "Yes, I'm taking my hands off you. Do whatever you need to do and see if you can come back to me or whatever." But God never did that. There were situations that I've been involved in, I could have been dead 100 times over. God kept me safe. And I like to think that He kept me safe for a reason. That I need to be there for other people as well, especially for people that don't realize they're going through problems or they're having issues. Because if I don't do what I am called to do, and every one of us here are called to be servants of God, if you are looking at your brother or sister failing daily and not correcting them, then you are failing as a Christian. Then what are you called for? And once again, I went way off my topic. I haven't even covered 3/4 of what I had written here. But guys, I like to think that something of what I said will stay with you. Right? And in closing, I want to remind you, you can only be two kinds of people. How many? Two. One, you can be an Abel, or two, you can be a Cain. It is up to you. You can do the things that Abel did, or you can do the things that Cain did. You can speak the things that Abel spoke, or you can speak the things that Cain spoke. You can act the way that Abel acted, or act the way that Cain acted. Those decisions can only come from you. I can't make the decision for you. I can't make it for Sister Karen, I can't make it for Sister Cheryl, or for Sister Cindy. Or for Auntie Kasturi. I can't make it for you. You make it on your own. If you end up in hell one day, whose decision would that have been? Yours. It would be mine. If I end up in hell, I cannot blame anyone else but me. I don't want to go there. So if you see me doing something wrong, talk to me about it. I might get angry at this point at the time, but I forgive very quickly. I'm like a child when it comes to forgiveness. I can see you after 10-15 minutes, I'll be back to normal again. And if I see you doing something wrong, if I know you're doing something wrong, I'd like to think that you will take my correction or my speaking to you in good faith and not feel embarrassed, or even if you feel embarrassed, not take it in a bad way, that you will change your life. Because sometimes, let's face it, you need to be embarrassed in something. Why would I say that? Imagine if you are stealing from work. Do you think God is going to let you just carry on stealing and not get caught? One day you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with all the embarrassment, but you will change your life. You say, no, God doesn't work with. I'll tell you, God works with it. Then you and I serve we serve different gods. I pray that you remember why we are here. I pray that you choose your friends wisely. I pray that your friends also choose their friends wisely.
Mhm.
Because you are either good for your friends or you are bad for your friends.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. Because if you are joining bad company, trust me, it's not very long before you are part of bad company. You can't stay clean when you are sitting in filth.
Mhm.
That is a fact of life. But that choice itself, again, is up to you. Who you choose as your friend is up to you. You want to choose a good friend, even if you lose all the other friends in the world, choose Jesus.
Yeah.
Compare yourself to him in everything. Don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to a pastor, because every one of us are sinners. Compare yourself to the person who has not sinned. Compare yourself to a God who cannot lie, who cannot be untruthful or unfaithful. And I pray above all that you will teach good things to those that you love, and that you will be a good friend to all those around. And may God bless you all that you do. All that you do.